Hello, I'm Jamie Heller. I'm the editor-in-chief of Business Insider, and we're here today for a panel called Living Autonomously. It's about robotics, robots, and living with them. And we have three terrific panelists who are in the thick of it. Here is Jake Loosararian, co-founder and chief executive officer of Gecko Robotics. We have Daniela who's the director of computer science and artificial intelligence laboratory at MIT. And we have Tianlan Shao, who's founder and chief executive officer of MechMind Robotics. So thank you all for being here. Thank you. And let's just get started. So many advancements on robotics in the last many years, in the last few years. I'd like to each of you please tell me what you think is just the most exciting thing in very recent last 12 months. Jake, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, the most exciting thing for us has been a hyper-focus from the actual users of these robots and the AI models that help to power the robots' effectiveness and what to do with the information and data. It's been a hyper-focus on, okay, AI, what's the ROI of AI? And that actually leads you down a path of interrogating the information and data sets that feed the model, which then allows for you to interrogate, do we actually have the information and data sets that we need to drive the ROI for all the investments that are being made right now into artificial intelligence? And so that actually leads you down a path to more and more of a physical realm. And so this is why physical AI has been a topic that you've just heard so much about. And so for us, at Gecko, what we focus on is gathering information and data sets from a bunch of different robots that we make, and then also that we integrate with, and pulling all that data set into one source of truth called Cantilever that helps make different kinds of decisions using information data sets that never existed before. But this is a trend that's occurred because AI has honed this question of what sorts of decisions can I make or can I not make, and what's missing for me to be able to take advantage and have lots of ROI from the promise that we've all been hearing about with artificial intelligence.
And is the data that helps robots think and behave, and or the data that robots can gather to help companies? It's been both, but it's actually been the data sets that the customers never had before. So in our case, it's diagnosing the health of the built world is what we call it. So it's how healthy is your bridge or your power plant or your ship or whatever the physical structure is, your building, and then using that information data to help to drive optimizations, longevity of the asset, predicting failures, those sorts of data sets, and then we'll use the information data sets that our robots are collecting while they're gathering that data, that's driving billions of dollars of returns for customers to actually make the robots smarter, make the robots being able to live more autonomously, and that creates a very interesting possibility for foundation models in these environments that you typically just don't get information from. So we start with the data that can drive ROI, and then how that can make our robotic systems more powerful than anyone else's. Got it. Daniela, what's been most exciting for you in your lab?
Very hard to choose one thing, but I will say we are focused on expanding robot capabilities. And that means expanding both the robot body and the robot brain, because the body is important. The robot can only do what its body is going to be able to do. And then for that body to do things, it needs to have a good brain. And so right now we have new advances in designing or co-designing robot bodies and brains together according to task specifications using AI. And so that means that in a few hours, you can actually get a custom robot that could then be manufactured at industrial grade in a few days. And this solves a very important problem, which is that right now we have certain fixed architecture robots, and we kind of have to adapt the tasks that we assign the robots to the architecture. Now we can get the robot architecture to be customized and adapted to the task. And along these lines, I would say we're working with new materials, we're working with soft materials, we're working with some AI design materials for the body part. And for the brain part, we are developing physical AI, which is a different kind of AI than the large language models you all are using today. It's an AI solution that has embedded in it an understanding of the physics of the world, which large language models do not, and also an AI solution that provides other properties. It allows the robot to learn the task rather than a task in context. When you learn a task in context with much of today's solutions, that means that for every new context, you have to redo the training. If you learn the skill, which is how humans learn, then you can apply that skill in many different contexts. And we also have more adaptive solutions. So in other words, today's models are frozen after training. That means when you deploy them in the wild, they cannot continue to learn. But with our physical AI solutions, we can get AI solutions that continue to adapt after training based on the inputs that they see. So this is extraordinary. It's opening so many opportunities.
And is it something like we're just at the cusp of it, or is it really starting to happen? Like, where are we on the arc of this science?
Well, it's happening. In fact, in my lab, we have been studying these questions for many years now. And our company, Liquid AI, is already bringing these physical AI models to business. And it's providing small, compact models that use a technology we call liquid networks that run on device. That means you don't need to do the cloud calls. So that means energy efficiency, it means privacy, and it also means capability without the risk of latency.
Wow. Okay. So Tianlan, let's hear from you. How fast are things going, and what's most exciting in your company right now?
Over the last 12 months, we delivered more than 10,000 intelligent robots. So that number is more than the first 8 years of our company combined. So I see a very clear trend of acceleration of adoption of intelligent robots. So physical AI is turning from future vision or just some concept to a real world, a very helpful product. So I think it's always very difficult to start. So the first 10,000 units actually took us 8 years, but then the second 10,000 units took us only 1 year. So I see a very clear trend. And in technology, we last year, so we found out that something we thought was very, very difficult now become reachable. Because of many reasons, like improvement in infrastructure, so including a simulator, more available real-world data, and advancements in AI models. So I very, very optimistic and confident that physical AI, and not just humanoid, but physical AI, empowering all kinds of robots, will do a very impactful thing in several hundred days.
Can you, when you say you did something that seemed very difficult and you got it done, did this have to do with the 3D vision? Can you just, it might be a little complex, but can you share?
Say we want a robot to grab something from a drawer. Say open drawer, take a look at what's inside and bring up. So this thing we human get that ability probably at 3. But that's quite difficult. But now we can train the so-called world model-like thing. So aligning everything, including vision, including robot vision, robot motion, aligning everything, say, in one specific space, and controlling, say, so telling robot what to do. So that's something. That thing is not so imaginable just a few years ago. But now, so I think it's within our reach already.
Okay. Did you want to get in here?
I just wanted to add that there are so many extraordinary applications and deployments that we already have in the world today and that are bringing value and contribution to people. So for instance, our company, Venti Technologies, is automating port operations, is moving containers. And we have entire fleets of robots that operate 24/7 without the need of human drivers, yet human drivers are also in the loop to step in when the weather is bad or when there is a lot of need for movement. And this is a very interesting way to think about robots as collaborators, as tools that we bring into the work environment that can take on some of the work. And in particular, ports are really notorious for not having enough drivers. Ports also, in general, there is a lack of truck drivers around the world. So bringing autonomy, bringing robotic concepts to this industry is important. It means that goods move much faster. And I also wanted to give the example of the company Symbotic. Symbotic automates storage systems, and they move boxes, they depalletize and repalletize, and they move millions of boxes every day. And through this operation, they're lowering the cost of food, they're speeding how food gets from one place to another.
It's fascinating industrial applications. Let's get into like maybe more where like people not working are like whether it's hospitals or hotels or like workers in the field. Like how safe are they? Like what are the problems still facing like semi-structured environments as opposed to superstructured environments?
Yeah, I guess I can start. Yeah, a lot of times maybe we focus on physical intelligence and robotics and like very specific. You're doing like certain functions or like it's pretty easy. Like there've been autonomous vehicles in mining, for example, with vehicles taking ore and material from a mine like to refining. These kind of systems have been around for a long time. I think the big change is happening is in these sorts of because robotic systems are becoming way more intelligent, and I think the right way to think about this is not generalized, but actually more specific. I call it droid over humanoid, and it touches on this like really big problem of deployment. And I think Andreessen Horowitz actually came out with a really good article about deployment is the big problem right now for robotics in terms of the ability for it to begin to make really large impacts and for there to be a clear roadmap. I think that's a big problem. Typically, robotics companies will make a single product and want to make a bunch of that single product, and then they end up creating a path towards basically they create a potential path towards just like you lose your unfair advantage. It just becomes commoditized. So the key is actually how do you know what's the next sorts of robotic systems to make on that droid onto like that leads you into the more generalized humanoid. And I think this is where, like, very specific, and we talked about this, very like more specific robotics that feed into systems that help companies, whether it's like make kilowatts or make barrels per day, or we're basically oriented towards maybe it's like moving shipping containers faster, or for Amazon it was like how do I get 2-day shipping? Robotics that can provide information and data sets that feed into helping a customer and a worker be able to accomplish the main job of the business outcome. That perpetuates this like cycle of, okay, if I had a robot and data set that could do this or get that, it creates a really good roadmap for making more and more robotics. So for our company, we actually don't sell robots. We make our robots and we deploy them into the environments for our customers. We figure out how to make them smarter, how to make them better, and collect better information and data set without locking in a type of robotic platform and then having to continue to upgrade that as systems and hardware get smarter. So I think that's a really important, paradigm shift for most roboticists is you have to learn about the environment. So you have to forward deploy and build your robots as close to the environment as possible. And that gives you the information and data set that doesn't exist anywhere on the internet, anywhere on YouTube about what these environments are like. And so that's the key.
What do you see as?
So I would just agree and add to that there are some real technical challenges that have to do if you're in an unstructured environment, there's a long tail of situations that you haven't tuned the robot for. And so learning about what the long tail is and learning how to deal with each of those situations is a challenge. From a technical point of view, perception, the ability of the robots to correctly understand its world is a challenge. We're pretty good at getting robots to move in the world. We still have challenges with manipulation, with handling the world. And in order to make progress there, we need better sensors. Our robots don't have the analogous of skin-like sensing. And so there are plenty of challenges, of technical challenges. And yet, if we look at what the machines can do today, we can come up with a wide range of applications where technology is suitable. So an important thing to keep in mind when deploying and developing robotic solutions is to ask, what does the application need? And is the technology a good fit for that application? Or are there situations where the application needs, but the technology is not ready for?
So Tianlan, when you put these 10,000 products out into the world, what's your biggest concern of the risk? How could it go wrong? What could actually hurt your customer, and how do you protect against that?
Yeah, so sometimes I like to compare intelligent robot with more familiar tools we use in daily life, like cars or chainsaw. Yeah, so we have a very clear rules about, say, where should we use them, say, who should be able to use that. And say, what do we do, say, if something goes wrong? Yeah, when it fails, how do we minimize the consequences? Yeah, of course, the cars or chainsaws or electric dreamers can also cause hazards. Yeah, but that doesn't prevent them from being very useful. So I would say we need the same thing: clear boundary, very well definitions, and the rules. Yeah. So for example, in factory floor, in logistics centers, yeah, our systems are already helping workers there, moving around cartons, moving around sacks, and also doing many assembly, welding, screwdriving, many of these things. So the safety standard, so it's very clear who should be able to touch it. Yeah, and such application doesn't involve direct human interaction. Yeah, it's not like helping the elderly, yeah, or say raising up, say a child. Yeah, so
you're saying you're not doing that.
Yeah, currently not.
Currently
not. So currently not. Yeah. So actually, we don't have to wait until humanoid are working among us and interact directly with all we human being before we deploy, say, hundreds of millions useful robots, especially in manufacturing, in logistics, and some service industry. Yeah, if we think about the physical work carried out today by the human, the vast majority of them actually happen in a relatively controllable environment. Yeah, the definition of the task is quite clear and doesn't involve direct interaction of with human. Yeah, so that's the tasks. I think in next few hundreds of days, yeah, the robots can be very helpful.
I mean, I do think I want to just to hold the point is just that I think there is a big debate. Oh, is AI just another tool? Or is AI just like super powerful on another level? And it's not just like, oh, a car. Like, we have to be extra careful and how much power are we giving these robots? So it's just something to think about. But go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, well, I think one thing I'd love to get to as well is like, what's the role of teleoperation, and how should the average person that is being told by these tech leaders, potentially on this panel here too, that like robot revolutions are coming in 3 years, and you're going to have robots folding your laundry and doing your dishes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the dirty little secret, of course, is that, if you want to pay $40,000 for that, and you want someone to be able to see what's going on in your house, maybe you're getting out of the shower, and there's someone teleoperating your robot. So I think there's like an importance, like there is autonomy for certain tasks, but for the majority of the case for humanoids, it's learning in the environment, and it has to do that with teleoperation. And there's a funny little video.
What's teleoperation?
Okay, so basically it's someone with a headset that's like helping to maneuver. Like when you see these videos online, there's someone operating the robots for the most part. And there's even a funny video where someone takes the headset off, like somewhere, behind a closed door, and then the robot, it's like, it like goes like that and it like falls over. So I think it's just like important. The average individual that's like thinking about living autonomously and robots among us, it's like they don't really realize, how teleoperation is a prerequisite for full autonomy because we're still learning the environment. And I also think it also should begin to ask the question, okay, if you have to understand the environment that the robots are being deployed in, that actually should allow for roboticists to begin to think of themselves not just as how can I get information about how the robot's performing, but how can I get information about how what sorts of actions are being taken at the customer. So how do I make steel, for example, should be a thing that roboticists begin to think more about. For just I'm not thinking about like
really
you have to understand the environment and why am I turning this valve because of this alarm, or like I'm thinking more industrial applications, but of course this applies to the more normal more normal things. But as robots begin to understand and learn the environment that they're in, they're also learning and understanding the things that humans, that subject matter expertise, by which a lot of them are retiring in these sectors that I'm referring to, what sort of actions they take and why. And that actually is very important for roboticists to understand. There's a lot of power in understanding the physical world and creating the brain, the world model, the foundational model. And I think it should drive industries, actually.
The other thing I would add to that is that there is a real gap between getting a robot to do a task in a research setting. And I can give you a robot that will fold your laundry and load your dishwasher, but it might cost you $500,000, right? So then to get from that to a deployment where you have a few tens of robots that operate in some specified settings, and to really fully scaling up the solutions. And so it takes a lot of hard work to go from research lab to physical demonstration and to a truly scaled up solution, especially when it comes to manipulating the world.
So talking about the manipulation, again, you're the experts, not I, but coming to Davos for years, you see that little dog robot walking on the street, and like that doesn't like have a brain. Isn't the breakthrough here that we're building robots that are going to be able to think and reason more on their own?
Well, exactly. So we need robots that look at the world and understand that there is a step here and the surface might be slippery and could adapt in situ. That requires that the robots have a brain that has the capability to perceive the world and to very quickly adjust its motions in order to respond to the world. And so we're beginning to develop the brains of robots that can do this kind of exceptional navigation. In fact, there are some exceptional examples of robots that can hike a trail. And so if you think about how complicated it is to hike a trail, you have to look at where you put your step, how do you balance the rest of your body. And so these kinds of mobility advances are already happening. What's difficult for manipulation is that we don't actually have skin-like sensors that are able to tell us the kind of detailed information that my fingers get when I rotate this glass. I don't even look at it, but I feel it. I sense forces and torques. I sense them really fast and with a high degree of accuracy. And then I can do very dexterous tasks. So we're lacking the sensors that give us this level of dexterity for robot hands. We can do other things. So we can take the glass with robots and put it from here to there. And this is enabling all the warehousing and logistics progress we have seen.
I'm going to come to questions in just a minute, but now just today it's that Elon Musk is going to be here. Obviously, robotics are a huge part of Tesla. If you were each able to ask him one question, what would you ask him?
I would ask him, when can I buy all your robots? Yeah, I think can I expand on that for just a second? Okay, so what I mean by that is all the things you're talking about, there's like acceleration of learning that's going on and the infrastructure that's coming. I think we're underestimating the impact that has in terms of the compute and the energy, by the way. I don't think we're modeling those inappropriately, or other sorts of rare earth materials. But I think that it's just super important to understand that, all the things we're talking about the really exciting problems to overcome with robotics, teleoperation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, there is incredible importance to figuring out how to get the ROI from the robot in a system that can get that. And then the ones that are quickest at the adoption and deployment, earlier than you probably should, you should expect it. You don't need a million miles. You don't need you can get away with not perfect actions by robots if you do it on specific tasks. So yeah, so I think there's from a labor perspective, from a demand of whether it's energy or materials, robotics and humanoids in particular are going to be game changing, and it's going to completely upend the economic landscape for companies, and then also the production and how effective and efficient and how much growth we have as nations. And
so your first question would be, how do I sign up?
Yeah, no, yeah. How many? I want to buy the most robots than any other company.
Just have okay. Daniela.
Well, I would just say that yes, I might debate your point because robots are actually, the humanoids are not actually capable of delivering their full potential, and so even though Elon Musk said that by next year he will have, or by this year he will have several million robots in factories, I would say, well, what is the plan? What is the technical plan for the manipulation, for the hands of the robot? And I will also remark that, Elon Musk also told us in 2017 that we will be falling asleep at the wheel in 2019, and we're still not falling asleep at the wheel. So what I might say is that I actually love the vision, but I think he sometimes gets the timing wrong.
I'd like to comment a little bit about the robot hand. I personally have tried to live with only 3 fingers and only do this action. I personally have tried that for several hours. Yeah, life is just fine. Yeah, of course I failed to use chopsticks, but I can use spoon and knife instead. Yeah, so seriously, so you can also try. Actually, I encourage that. Yeah, so this I think justify my opinion that we don't need human level dexterity to enable robot to do many useful things. Yeah, so you can try that at home. Yeah, it's not that dangerous. Yeah, so that's why I'm depicting a so-called graduated autonomy and intelligent robot. It's not like suddenly we got a robot that can do every action we human can carry out. It's like, okay, robot of all kind, maybe with 3 fingers, or with 1 arm, or 1 arm on a dog, yeah, who knows. Yeah, so all kinds of robot in certain applications, yeah, performing certain tasks very reliably. Yeah, so that's the near future. I mean, future in several hundred days. So I'm visioning. Yeah. So yeah, of course, I also share the further future vision. Yeah, but I think we don't need to wait until the whole humanoid or robot hand to be very, very advanced. And I'd like to comment to that robot dog thing. There are 3 major directions in robot abilities. Yeah, navigation, locomotion, and manipulation. Yeah, locomotion.
Navigation, locomotion, and
manipulation.
Manipulation.
Yeah, locomotion is basically about dancing, yeah, parkour thing. Yeah, navigation is about working around. Yeah, find out where I am and how to go to somewhere else. Yeah, manipulation is what Professor Ross just mentioned. Yeah, to move around things, to do operations. Yeah, so currently, what's missing? Well, what prevents robots to be super useful in our daily life or manufacturing or logistics is mainly about the manipulation. But we see very concrete and fast advancement in recent days.
So you just gave me an idea for all of you to understand why manipulation is difficult. Just try manipulating your phone with your fingernails, not with your skin, and so to see how difficult that is. So robots are made primarily from hard plastics and metal. And those materials are more like fingernails than the skin and flesh we have on our fingertips. So on the research side, we are advancing new materials that will give us skin-like interaction. But then we have to take that from the research lab to the demonstration and scaling it up. So it's coming, but it's not today.
But good news is that we don't need Einstein level of intelligence, because I really like visiting zoos. When I lived in Munich, I was in the zoo of Munich every say maybe 2 months. So we can find, say, animals doesn't know any idea about language, doing perfect manipulation. Say like squirrel monkey, this big, probably with a 30-gram brain, can do perfect manipulation. So it's not that far away from us, I would say.
Just listening to you all, though, it is the human being doing what you do must find that the human being is remarkable, like all the different ingredients, the brain, the skin. Okay, questions? Right here in the front. Just if you could stand, say your name, where you're from.
Sure. Vanessa Mendes.
I think they have a mic for you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the session. I think it was very insightful. My name is Vanessa Mendes. I come from Houston, Texas as well. I'm also representing the global shipper community. I'm currently running a startup that focuses on drone automation and visual AI for the solar industry and how we can improve asset integration for solar assets, so very close to what you're doing. And, you posed an interesting aspect, which is some of the sites, most of these sites are in remote areas. Meaning the labor thing, it's actually a big problem. So, thank you. So, as I was saying, some of these sites are in remote areas. So, the cost of deploying these projects it's higher than what it could be with automation. So, my question to you is, given the current autonomous state in terms of like drones and how capable there are. We see Skydius as a big example. How close are we from seeing broader automation in other sectors of infrastructure management in remote areas? Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I'll interpret that question as like in the future, you want to be able to have a path towards, especially like very remote assets, being able to run them more autonomously. And reduce the amount of safety issues, and then also increase the margin for basically operating these, especially in environments where there's like not as much skilled labor force. Well, I do think if we get the model right of being able to move towards automation by small steps, and one case could be these autonomous drones, then I think it's actually like for maybe less complex environments like a solar field or a wind turbine, like you could begin to get that in the next like 3-4 years. The problem is,
remote control basically.
Just like mostly autonomous or completely autonomous. And but I think the question is just it comes down to just like what's the bang for buck? I guess is like it's really consequential in certain industries to be able to have more tasks be autonomous. I think it's going to take more than 3 years to get those sorts of tasks, like whether it's at like a shipyard, like having to do a turnaround of like an aircraft carrier or something like that. So I think like I think most of the robotics and most of the software and AI is going to be focused on the highest ROI applications, and so that's going to take probably another 5, 6, 7 years, as long as companies shift in a big way their thesis on getting there.
Okay, so in remote environments, you need a really good perception system, and you might not have GPS. So you can solve that problem if you adopt on-device physical AI models, because those models will allow you to adapt, it will allow you to do the navigation, it will allow you to respond to whatever the environment looks like. And the good news is that we are beginning to develop these types of models. They're called state space models. And check out the Liquid AI open source models, which might be very effective for your problem.
Could you just repeat that? What is the name of the models?
Liquid AI.
Liquid AI. What kind of models did you say?
State space models.
State space. Mm-hmm.
This means that they are built on an underlying mathematics that, that captures the physical world through differential equations. So it's a different approach to building the model than the transformer model.
Okay. Another question here. First hand I saw here. Thank you. Let us know who you are. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your interesting discussion. My name is Miguel. I come from Spain. I'm a physics PhD student, and but I'm really interested, sorry, in the brain, in the robotic brain thing, and this how this thing that you've been discussing about reacting to not programming events or to accidents, and I think the key for that is the conscience. So my question is, which level of conscience are we able to reach at the current moment, and which level of conscience can we reach in the future? Is it even possible to reach the human conscience, and how long would it take? Of course.
Well, first of all, we have to define what conscience is, and so I think that we don't fully understand the mechanics that make humans conscious. So it's difficult to think about applying that to a machine. But what we can say is that maybe conscious means being aware of your environment, being able to respond to your environment. And if we adopt this simple definition, then at some level we can build machines with certain level of awareness. However, we have to be careful when we build our technical solutions. We have to be able to characterize them. We have to be able to say, when do they work? When do they not work? What is the uncertainty that we expect from the predictions and recommendations that we get from the systems? So an exciting topic that would get us to more capable robots is really to build more uncertainty understanding within the robot brain, because through understanding the uncertainty of your predictions, the machine will be much better at doing tasks.
I'd like to add to that. Actually, we can think about how the human brain works. Yeah, so many research say that we human brain are super efficient. Actually, so we are not using our brain that much when things are normal. Yeah, so you probably have the experience that you listen to music or talking on a phone and doing your daily, say, like laundry or prepare your food without even memory. Even you cannot sometimes recall, for example, say how you take the subway or bus to home, because it's very normal to you. But when things become abnormal, so when surprise things happen, we start using our brain. So I think this ability is super important if we want to use a robot reliably and safely. Yeah, so robot need to know what is normal and what is not so normal. So we can have a fallback strategy. For example, call a human operator to intervene. Yeah, so that's so-called kind of consciousness. Yeah, so basically it's the ability to evaluate risk and to detect what is abnormal. Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the whole risk with AI and robotics that was, I guess, more talked about when ChatGPT first came around, of like, we're going to create these robots that we think we're going to have it under control, and then it won't be?
Well, it is definitely a challenge, and again, I want to go back to my definition of a robot body and brain. We can build robot brains without AI, so we can put algorithms in the brains of the robots, and then we will have some limitations over what those robots can do. The attraction of bringing data and physical AI models to the brain is that we give the robots the ability to be more adaptive. We give the robots the ability to do tasks that cannot be modeled from first principles. I can model this task from first principles. I don't need an AI solution to tell me how to pick something from here to here. But if I want to I don't know, what's your favorite task in the kitchen? If I want to...
About least favorite, do the dishes.
No, if I want to do the dishes, it's so difficult to model all your body movements from first principles, which is why collecting data from humans and teaching robots how to do those tasks in a human-like fashion is important. But that requires that this data gets passed through systems that understand more than statistical correlations, that can really do the spatio-temporal correlations that are involved in doing the dishes.
I think we have time for two more questions. We have one in the front. Yes.
Hello, my name is Giulia. I'm from Italy. I'm also a global shaper, and I am a researcher in human-robot interaction. I have so many questions, actually, but I'll choose my favorite one, which is about human. So I was wondering what was your opinion about what makes human-human interaction natural? And what are the biggest challenges, in your opinion, to make robots capable of interacting naturally with us?
Yeah, I would say demonstrations. Yeah, so basically that's how we humans learn most of the things. Yeah, so we humans have several different intelligence. Say, we basically learn, say, the ability of grasping something or throwing or say dribbling a ball, say, by watching and practicing. Yeah, but we cannot learn that to be able to calculate like 25 times 52. Yeah, so that kind of intelligence is another thing. So if we want to deploy a robot, for example, on factory floor or logistics, I would say demonstration is the most intuitive way, yeah, to tell a robot what to do, and that's exactly how we humans tell others, for example, to do work in kitchen. Yeah.
The vast majority of the machines that we have built so far are such that we adapt to them rather than the other way around. So an important question here is, can we build machines that adapt to humans? That means that those machines have to be really good at perception, at situation awareness. They have to be able to do activity recognition, and not just on the visual side. They have to understand, oh, you know, I'm trying to move a box and I'm struggling, it's too heavy. Can it come in just like a teammate to help me pick up the box? And then once we have once we're both holding the box, carrying a big box requires that the machine understands the forces and torques that I put on the box to respond in the same way, and also gives me feedback to understand that it's doing the right thing and it's working as a teammate rather than as an inert tool.
So there's been this thing on Instagram, what it was like in 2016. If you could go back to 2016, 10 years ago, would you think where we are today on robotics is farther than you predicted we would have come, or not as far as we predicted we would have come? Like, where are we in terms of our aspirations versus our results in the last 10 years, if you went back 10 years?
10 years. 10 years ago was when I went through Y Combinator in Silicon Valley after bootstrapping Gecko for 3 years. When I went to Y Combinator, if you were doing a robotics company, it was basically the same as, you know, choosing to die a slow death or a fast death. And especially, like, you know, robots that weren't like throw $1 billion at a research project that ends up dying, right? So I think it was pretty bleak 10 years ago, actually. And we thought, I think when I was growing up, I was expecting maybe, like some of you were, a world where robots were among us and helping us, and you know, it was a beautiful symbiotic relationship. We're helping each other, and that reality was not coming at all. And so I am actually exceptionally excited about where we are 10 years later.
Good. Okay. Just a little couple more minutes. So just, do you feel like we're farther or not as far along as you?
In some ways, we're farther. In other ways, we're not. So 10 years ago, we were not talking about AI. We're not talking about physical AI. Self-driving projects looked like science projects. And now we have companies that have deployed mobility and autonomous mobility in so many settings. We have robots that deliver on sidewalks. We have self-driving cars in geofenced environments. We have robots that move containers and packages. So we have a lot of machines, but we have not made as much progress on the manipulation side. So this vision of Rosie, the robot assistant in your home that will do all of your chores remains some way away. However, I think I can give you a self-driving garbage can if you don't like to take your garbage out. That is possible. But the more general humanoid in-home robot will be a long way away. And I'm also very excited about where we are because we made huge advances on the material side, on the hardware side, motors and sensors, on the computational side, on the data side and the AI side. And so we're waiting for the young generation to take all this wealth of capabilities and turn it into a magical future where machines will support us in the future.
Young generation, you got 22 seconds.
Yeah, so I would say just one sentence, say the hardest thing are behind us, not in front of us.
Hardest is behind.
The hardest thing is already behind us. So I'm very confident today.
That's great. Thank you all so much. Thank you all.